Hello, brothers. Good evening. Good evening. How you guys doing? Hope you are well. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay, please. Nice to see you all. Saw a bunch of you guys in the live stream about the Dataslate. How is everybody tonight? Holy shit, there's a lot of people in. Good evening, good evening. Gitley, Joe, Kevin, Highland, James, Andy, Reziel, Will, Steve, Jim twice, James, Sanguinius, everybody's here. Good evening, good evening. Have you guys got some Death Company? Because if so, I think it's time to get some paint on them. I got what, in true fashion, I got one I did earlier here. I did this guy a few years ago, to be honest. But yeah, I think it's Death Company now, right? Well, or Sanguinary Guard. Sanguinary Guard are, holy shit, so much better. 100% better against AP1 weapons. And like, what was it, 50% better against AP2? I mean, Sanguinary Guard have their problems, but yeah. Questions about the balance slate, let's discuss it. And remember, I've been saying this for a few streams now, all you people that are channel members, you guys have free super chats. All you gotta do is click on the super chat icon at the bottom underneath chat, and every month as a channel member you can do a free super chat, so please use them. If there's a question that you are dying to get answered, it's free, it won't cost you anything. It'll pop up on the screen and everybody can see it, so yeah, go for it. I've been trying to build some lists. Pretty much since lunchtime I've been list building in my head. I think I'm going to be finally maybe swayed on that 5-man Death Company and I might even get I think I might run a Sanguinary Priest as well. Good evening, The End. This phenomenon of -1 AP being the most valuable point was an issue. What do you mean, Dave? Lightning Claw, Storm Shield, Vanguard Vets, still the move. I mean, I don't dislike Lightning Claw, Storm Shield, Vanguard Vets, or Thunderhammer, Vanguard Vets. I just think our other couple options got really tasty. Vanguard Vets will win out when you talk about high AP weaponry, like, I guess, AP3 and above, I guess. Or no, was it AP3 and above against Death Company, AP4 and above against Sanguinary Guard, right? Sanguinius asks, have we seen the Grots poll results? Yes, I saw that you people have been voting over on the podcast channel, and it seems like more people think not painting the underside of tanks is more heretical than drilling your gun barrels. I love it. Gitley says Sanguinary Guard are the nuts now. I mean, they still have 2 damage weapons, Gitley, so like, don't get too excited, but their survivability increase is probably pretty huge, I would guess. And you guys that were on stream with me when we were predicting how they could make Sanguinary Guard viable, I mean, does this help us more than it helps other chapters? I mean, yes and no. I mean, if you think of like Deathwing Terminators, any Deathwing Terminator that's not with a Storm Shield is pretty tough as well now, right? Good evening, Chris. How you doing? And Death Guard, yes, Death Guard are going to be hard as hell. What about I don't think we have too many Thousand Sun players that frequent this chat, but like, what about like the Scarab Occults and the Rubric Marines? They're going to be pretty good with their I think they're going to be pretty good with +1 or might ignore -1, aren't they? Highland Phoenix, member for 15 months. Feels good to be in power armor today. Do you know what? That's the first time. Is this the first time in about a year it's felt good to be in power armor? I love it, Highland. Good comment. How do you guys think that fares for Sisters of Battle, though? Because I think that's pretty cool for them. I didn't think they were totally useless, or I didn't think they were so underpowered that they I mean, Sisters have dropped out of the meta a bit, but Sisters might be a big bone of contention. Kevin says our double Lightning Claw Terminators are amazing now too. Yeah, 33 points per model, so cheaper than the Blade Guard veterans, more attacks than the Blade Guard veterans, re-rolling the wounds. The only disadvantage, I guess, on the double Lightning Claw Terminators, Kevin, is going to be the AP, right? So that's why I was saying, like, maybe a Sanguinary Priest is going to be even more valuable now. And thank you so much for the $5. I do appreciate it. Yeah, so AP will be the one thing, and that's why I kind of mentioned Red Rampage. And Red Rampage is not something that I typically have used in my games, but it sounds like it might be the time to consider it in a vast number of games. Any game in like turn 3 or 4 now, maybe when you're making 3 or 4 charges, it might be time to get Red Rampage out. Grey Knights are going to be strong too. Yeah, Grey Knights will be strong. I think, I mean, as good as it is for us, it will make these other factions a bit stronger, but those factions aren't quite as high in the meta, I guess, as the things that they've given the save to. Death Guard, I think Light Lord Terminators, they're already nightmarish to shift, so they're going to be really difficult. Av says the Blood Angels commander is back. I never went anywhere. I've been here all the time. I played one game as another faction. That apparently me playing one game as another faction scared Games Workshop. They were like, oh crap, we need to make sure that we give Space Marines something. I mean, everybody said last week Space Marines, we weren't expecting anything as Marines, so it seems like I'm going to create a poll in this stream as well. Are you happy with the data slate? It seems like people are overall happy. Yes, no, undecided. You guys can vote on it. Ask your community. Leviathans are now very strong. Yeah, I mean, Leviathans are great. I mean, I think Relic Contemptors are great. Eradicator is probably pretty good as well now. Attack Bites are the one that really... The Attack Bites are the one that really... they're the one that I'm on the... Do you know what, Reziel? You need to phone Steel Rain. Tell him that Marine got buffed. Get him on here right now. And tell him Sanguinary Guard got buffed, and Steel Rain will be here quicker than you can say Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I swear he'll be here so fast. Someone has him on Discord, right? Ping him. Tell him Sanguinary Guard got buffed. Yeah, I mean, anything that's on a 2-up save now, it's gonna be very, very difficult to really counter that level of save, I guess, right? I mean, there's a few things, like, I guess Multi-Meltas and Devastator Doctrine are gonna counter it. Just. But, like, Blasters, for example. Blasters on Dakari were like, you know, it was kind of horrible. You could have the Raider full of Dark Glances and Blasters, and it was like, when they were hitting your Dreadnoughts, it was just like, oh great, we just don't get a save here at all. Well, guess what? Now we're getting a save, and against those Blasters, we're actually getting a 5-up save, so... I mean, that doesn't sound horrible at all. I mean, considering none of the points costs changed, right? And yeah, I mean, Sanguinary Guard -1 to hit, ignore -1 AP. Sounds much better. You know, -1 to hit doesn't sound horrible. Like, I've been complaining about -1 to hit. What's the most OP chapter after this buff? Is it Death Guard? Death Guard are slow, typically, the end. I think that I think Death Guard are actually easy to beat as Blood Angels. You just choose where to fight your engagements, because they're too slow. I mean, apart from Mortarion, they're kind of too slow, I guess. Steel Rain has me in chat all day in Discord. We've been active. Nice. So maybe we get some people excited about this. Getting a 6+ on attack Vite Visa Lance doesn't make getting hit with D3 + 3 into 4 wounds that much better, says David. Yeah, that's true. I mean, so do land speeders sound good then now? I mean, a 6+ just feels infinitely better than no save, right? And I think that was my main problem. Like, I just hate it when you get no save. I feel like it's such a shit moment in the game when something gets hit, and it's just like, oh yeah, you just don't get any save, and you're like, oh great, it's just dead. Camille's coming in. Camille is happy as fuck. Good evening, Camille. I'm glad you're happy, brother. Thank you too much for the Swiss francs, right? Did I get that right? I'm sure I got that right. You've given me donations so many times, I've got to have got that right this time. It's Swiss francs. CHF does not make me think of Swiss. There should be an S in there, but I'm sure I got that right. Dan, good evening. How you doing? Gitley was about to shelf his Blood Angels. Gitley, you can't be shelving them. You are, weren't you the top Blood Angels player at one point in the last year based on like BCP results? You can't be shelving our boys. I mean, it makes me sad that we've been playing for a year with this disadvantage, but if I think of all the games I played over the last year, I feel like if I'd had this, yeah, pretty happy, I think. Marines into Marines might be a bit more tricky. Rizio says, Andrew's bringing Valorous Heart, or I owe you money. What's Valorous Heart again? Wasn't that Ignore EP or something? Would it stack? Like, I've only seen Argent Shroud and Bloody Rose sister lists recently. I haven't seen Valorous Heart. I think you used to run Valorous Heart on the Sacrosancts before when you used to be able to mix and match. Oh. I got the Swiss francs right, thank you. Been running math all afternoon. This is honestly huge. The indirect fire nerf is a massive boom, says Gabriel. The indirect fire nerf needed to happen. It was so oppressive, and it kind of sucked all the fun out of the game for me when it was just like you're just losing all your stuff to indirect fire. Should I drop my Landspeeder Tornadoes for regular Landspeeder, says Dan, or keep the Assault Cannon for non-powered armor armies? I think that the Tornado is a little bit overcosted, Dan. It's just my opinion, but I think quite a few people in the chat would probably agree. I think you're just better running Landspeeders nice and cheap. I suppose it depends if you have any other Assault Cannons or similar weapons in your armies, but yeah, regular Landspeeders. The regular Landspeeder also buffs the Whirlwind, remember, which is really nice if you have a Whirlwind. I guess, do you know what? I said it's really nice if you have the Whirlwind. I guess that doesn't matter. The Whirlwind doesn't do damage at all now. I mean, it barely did damage before, but it really doesn't do much damage now at all, I guess. Dirty Wizard says, I'm glad with the changes, but I'll have to rethink my army now if given... I'll have to rethink my army list now given that I have a Bodyguards around my chapter champion. Well, you don't necessarily. You can still bodyguard your chapter champion with one bodyguard. You just can't daisy chain or hide the bodyguard behind a piece of terrain so they can't be shot, right? Which was kind of a dumb rule anyway, honestly. I didn't play my bodyguards too often like that, so I actually think that probably doesn't affect Blood Angels as much as you might think it would. I mean, unless you're trying to... Like, we don't really have many characters that you can bodyguard and hide in a building and still shoot and be effective with, right? So, like, how is that hurting you, Dirty Wizard? Pastor Chris says that he loves that Sanguinary Guard got a buff because he's a returning player. Welcome back, Chris. I think you're just kind of new to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, and do all like to see returning players to the game. But yeah, it's nice to see that Sanguinary Guard are finally getting a little bit of love, because it feels like they've just fallen further and further from where they need to be. And do you know what? As much as I complain about their Sanguinary Guard's damage, if they'd given them more damage and left them as they are armor-wise, I would have probably been upset. So the fact that they've given them more survivability first is precisely what I wanted, so that's great. So is anyone going to be running Blade Guard Veterans now, says Nate? I mean, if you're into armies that do a lot of high AP weaponry and are very quickly... If you're into an army that does a lot of high AP weaponry, then anything like Blade Guards or Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields are going to still be good. And will I still run Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields? Probably, because I always think it's nice to have that one unit that has that invulnerable save running around. But I guess we'll have to see. And I guess the Vanguard Veterans, I don't think they'll be weak. I mean, it just means Death Company and Sanguinary Guard are not falling behind them now, I guess. The AP on Sanguinary Guard is key now. I mean, it'll help, for sure. Have we talked about Leviathans, says Chip Hazard? No, we have. Well, we've talked about the fact that you need to hit them with -3 to put them on a 4-up save. So Leviathans are going to be nice, that's for sure. I mean, Leviathans were already pretty nice. Did the Death Jester Sniper get hit at all? If not, he's the real winner of the Bodyguard. I'm actually not familiar with the Death Jester Sniper. I haven't played into Harlequins, if that's who that is. 2 scoops. If you want to elaborate, we can talk about it. Podger says Death Company and Repulsor really want to make those units work. Yeah, I think Blade Guard are still good. Someone's saying, I saw it in the chat a second ago, Reziel says Relic Terminators are the best Terminators now. I think Relic Terminators with Lightning Claws and Stormbolters are going to be really, really good now. I think regular Terminators with Stormbolters and Chainfists are also pretty darn good now. I've already got a squad of regular Terminators with Chainfists. So, I mean, I'll probably run them in the coming weeks. And I think I might commission a squad of Relic Terminators over the coming months with Lightning Claws. I think that would be a good addition. I don't have any, and they are only 34 points per model, a Relic Terminator with Lightning Claw, which is reasonably cheap in points costs. Toasty Devil feels like he's glad he can finally bring out his Redemptor, and he's been a member for 2 months as well. Thank you so much, Toasty Devil. I do appreciate it. Yeah, Redemptors are a big winner today, I think. What about Relic Terminators, Lightning Claw, and Chainfist? Can you put a Lightning Claw and a Chainfist on them? I think the Stormbolter. I mean, the Stormbolter was already 0 AP, so it's not like that really. The change really affect the Stormbolter much, right? Or the Combi Bolter, I guess. It's not a Stormbolter. It's essentially a Stormbolter, but it's called a Combi Bolter, right? Any advice versus Thousand Suns? Probably have something like Soul Warden to protect against all the mortal wounds that you've been having, or you're going to be getting. And then Thousand Suns are very durable. Again, I wouldn't say they're the fastest army, so probably try and use your speed. Like, when last I played Thousand Suns, they camped the middle of the board with like 10 Scarab Occult Terminators because they can revive them, they can like get -1 damage on them, they can save like super reliably, they can revive. I already said they can revive them. I was going to say they never fail morale in their OBSEC. So yeah, like if you're fighting into something like that, avoid, punish them elsewhere in the board. Yeah, they have massive durability, but like that giant squad of Terminators can't be everywhere, or something like that. And I imagine that they will have like a couple of squads of Rubrics, a couple of squads of Scarab Occults. Their characters also are not durable as well. So if you can ever get their characters into combat, you can just slice and dice them. It's just a case of being able to get to them. If you can do that, you'll probably win the game. They rely a lot on their characters to like buff other units with psychic powers and stuff. So that would kind of be my advice, I guess. Sanguinary Guard are decent against Thousand Suns, yeah. Why didn't they nerf Raiders and Orcs the same way as the Void Weavers back when they were an issue? Why limit models for Orcs and let Drukhari Raider go on and on and on? I mean, the Raiders are strong, David, but they have increased their points a lot from when they came out, right? I think they were originally 85 points per model. I think now they're 105, maybe? I think Raiders are good, but like I don't necessarily feel like, well, they don't have indirect fire, and that was one of the things that they are, I don't know. I mean, Drukhari probably, like, I'd say they kind of need their Raiders to be competitive, but yeah, I'm not 100% on their thoughts behind Raiders. I mean, Raiders are good. What do you think about Grey Knights now? Way stronger than before? I mean, stronger for sure, yeah. I mean, everything... It would be impossible to say that they weren't stronger than before, right? Because they've got +1 armor save on a bunch of things, I guess, or pretty much their whole army, right? So, stronger than before? But I mean, Grey Knights have not. They were in the meta. They were very, very strong for a small period, and then everything else got big buffs, and I don't know where Grey Knights stand right now. I honestly don't have enough experience playing against Grey Knights. I played them just that one time in the last year. So I would like to play them more. I think they're probably still reasonably strong, but I do wonder if the buffs today make us better equipped to deal with them, right? Because like one of the main weapons from the Grey Knights was that one of the main weapons from the Grey Knights was the heavy psi cannon, like strength 6 minus 2 damage. Well, it's only -1 now into other Marines, so it's like an indirect nerf to them, right? In that, like, one of their best damaging weapons will do quite a bit less damage against Marines. So it's good that they're more survivable, but they're also doing less damage. So I guess take that as you will. Kevin says Death Guard are better, but Plague Burst Crawlers took a hit. Yeah, I mean, all indirect fire took a hit. And I've been good plating for... It's -2 in the psi cannons. Yeah, heavy psi cannons. Well, what's the one that they've... Oh, is it the Gatling cannon they've got that's strength 6 -2 damage? So both their cannons on the Nemesis Grey Knights took a bit of a hit into other Marine armies. Which is good because, I mean, Nemesis Grey Knights... Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Nemesis Grey Knights. I thought it was a bit broken when they could take like 6 of them in their army list. I wouldn't write off Storm Shields, says Chip Hazard. Yeah, I'm not writing off Storm Shields at all. I think Blade Guards and Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields is still going to be fine. I'm probably going to run Vanguard Veterans with Storm Shields still on my list just because I like that unit. I've got them painted. I like the Lightning Claws. I think they're a good unit to deal with -1 damage enemies because you've got those Thunderhammers doing the 2 damage and you've got Lightning Claws with all the rerolls. Them Reich Boys says, hey Blood Angels Commander, just got into 40k and I'd like to thank you for the advice. I'm glad to see Death Company is going to be rocking now. You're very welcome. Thanks for joining the channel and nice to meet you, the Reich Boys. Joe says Nemesis Dread Knights definitely took a hit. I think I might take some Hive Guard. Absolutely not now. They're only AP2. Yeah, I think Hive Guard took a huge hit, and I'm really glad about that because I saw a tournament recently where it was just like a bunch of Hive Guard hiding behind a wall, like 3 squads of 3 or something, like 9 Hive Guard in this little building, just indirect firing everything. And there's no skill in that, is there? So I'm glad to see that got hit pretty hard. Robert White was... so not expecting the change. Yeah, Robert, are you in the Discord? Because I messaged you earlier. Joe says he's a closet Grey Knight player. That's fine, Joe. You can play whatever armies you want. I played Death Guard. Yeah, I did play Death Guard, but I ran a list earlier this week as Black Templars. Just to sort of figure them out, and I might do a video on fighting against Black Templars because Black Templars are a really interesting army actually. They have a lot of cool stuff. The vows and some of their stratagems are just generally pretty fun. Hive Guard can get in the sea, says Gitley. Zach Force says buffed but less than normal Marines. I guess Dirty Wizard used Bodyguards to allow his characters in the bubble to charge enemy without being targeted by Overwatch from Tau, for instance, unless I've misunderstood that rule. Yeah, that's true, but remember they can only Overwatch once, so why not this time just charge with the Bodyguards first? Let the Bodyguards die to the charge, it's not that important, right? And then charge with what you really need to. I mean, you just run if that's your plan, just run a small squad of 2 Bodyguards, arm them with double chainsword, that's valid. So they're not really that survivable. People aren't going to typically shoot them out and then just charge with the Bodyguards and make them Overwatch the Bodyguards. You could do that as well. Another thing that could be nifty now is if Impulsors can actually be fielded because they're not totally crap. When I was playing Andrew a few weeks ago, I had my Blade Guard Veterans in an Impulsor. And like, you know, obviously the Blade Guard Veterans disembark at the beginning of the turn and the Blade Guard Veterans want to charge he was playing Knights that evening. The Blade Guard Veterans want to charge the Knight. So I just was like, right, I'm going to charge the Knight with Impulsor. Do you want to Overwatch? Because, like, what's he going to do? Kill my Impulsor? Well, great. My Bladeguard veteran's still charging in. Themos says it's certainly nice that Terminators and Assault Terminators with Lightning Claws compare well with Bladeguard now, only losing on the AP 4+. Yeah, I think that squad that I've been running of a mix of Thunderhammers and Lightning Claw Terminators is going to be pretty cool now, because previously before, you know, the Thunderhammer Terminators cost 10 more points because they obviously have a Thunderhammer that can do the 3 damage. And sometimes when, like, a lot of attacks come in, you sometimes have to assign them to a Storm Shield guy, because you're like, ugh, you know, it's a lot of firepower and my Lightning Claw guys only have a 2-up save compared to the 1-up save of the Storm Shield guys. Well, now you'll be able to assign, like, any low AP damage coming into the Terminator squad will be able to be assigned to Lightning Claw Terminators, and they'll be just as survivable as the Storm Shield ones. That's super cool. It's actually kind of funny. Games Workshop have gone full circle in Terminators, because there was a point there's a point in 8th edition, I think, where Terminators actually just had 1 wound, right at the start of the edition, and they were just absolutely terrible, and like no one wanted to run them. And now I'm looking at like, yeah, I think my next list. And I kind of already built my list, I think, and I might change a couple of things, but I think my next list is going to include a 5-man Death Company, it's going to include a squad of Sanguinary Guard, Vanguard Veterans, and I think I'm going to go with Relic Terminators. I don't own any Relic Terminators, so I think I'm going to proxy them and just run regular Terminators, but I think that's probably going to be my next list. And I mean, it might even be worth running a squad of Relic Terminators and you know, another squad of shooting Terminators. I think that's going to be decent. 1-up save on those Terminators and 3 wounds a time. I think it's very decent. The other thing that might be cool though is, like, if we talk about how the ignore AP -1, right? If we focus on that for a second, if you're running Terminators with Chainfists, then Chainfists are already -4. If you go into Assault Doctor and Chainfists are -5, so even if you're running into an army that's like got the same rule as us, like, you know, +1 or ignore -1 AP, ignore -1 AP only goes so far when you're hitting at -5, and there isn't that many other armies out there that are running around. Like, can you guys think of another army that have like a close combat model or squad that can do like sustained attacks with -5 AP? DTM just joined, and if you're roll low number of shots, there's an increased chance of getting the suppression off. I use land speeders, so it isn't as bad. Yeah, I mean, the whirlwind, I guess, may suffer a tiny bit for the suppression fire, so maybe land speeders are going to be more valuable now, right? Like that could actually be a thing, that you kind of want to have a land speeder to make sure that you're getting your suppression fires off. And I guess that really actually, you know, like some people would run the whirlwind with the Vengeance Launcher. I think in some ways this is probably a nerf to the Vengeance Launcher. Like, if you want to be doing suppression fire, I don't think you can run the Vengeance Launcher anymore. Good evening, Krychek. How you doing? Biggest nerf of the day equals Custodes plus they didn't even get Armor of Contempt. Wow. I heard, and maybe I shouldn't be happy about this, but this is what I heard. I heard in one of the Custodes Discord groups that, like, there was a lot of salty people. They were saying that the bikes are useless now because I think the bikes are no longer OBSEC. I was saying that the bikes, the missile launchers on the bikes should go up 10 points, but like the bikes are no longer OBSEC. You can no longer transhume in the bikes. You can only turn off rerolls once per game. I mean, I'm happy about all of that. I thought Custodes were way too strong. I've been working for a little while on a video, and it's kind of a troll video, but it should also be quite fun. Hold on, my daughter. So I'm gonna go to a castle in Scotland tomorrow with my camera, and I'm gonna film a video where I challenge Mr. Henry Cavill to a game of Warhammer. And I guess Custodes got nerfed, so it's perfect fucking timing. But I'm going to take my kilt with me. If there's not too many people at the castle, I'm going to put my kilt on and Henry Cavill's obviously going to be in a movie, Highlander, this year, and it's a Scottish movie. Well, is it a Scottish movie? It's a movie about Highlander. I mean, it's about people in Scotland in the Highlands. So I'm going to put on my kilt. I'm going to go to a castle in the Highlands. I'm going to film a little section. It could be corny as fuck, but we'll see. That's my plan for tomorrow if the weather's nice. I actually have no idea what the weather's going to be like tomorrow. But even if, do you know what, if the weather's horrible, then it would look even better, because it might look like I'm strong standing in horrible Scottish weather in a kilt. We'll see. We'll see. I want to try and get Henry Cavill on a stream. That would be nice. We can see if he had salty tears after the Ballads Dataslate today. So Custodes, Tau, and Harlequins, the three, I want to call them the three, what are we calling them? The three problem factions, the three overpowered factions. Nate says the bikers are dumpster fire now. I thought they had OPSEC this edition. Maybe Andrew read the rule wrong. I'm sure when we played he told me that they were OPSEC. The Terminators, I know that the Terminators loved OPSEC for sure. Harlequins will still be powerful. I mean, yeah. I mean, Custodes will still be powerful. They just won't be able to be stupidly broken, right? Maybe Hendry will come over to the best Golden Boys. Yeah, that was going to kind of be my rhetoric, Island Phoenix. I was going to say that we were the original Golden Boys. And I want to fight you to prove who is the strongest. Foz coming in with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Foz. Land, speeders, and eliminators seem a lot better now. What's the best HQ choices? Still Bike Chaplain, Bike Captain, Sanguinary Priest, or Dante? I mean, Dante? Yeah, I mean, I was actually speaking to Reziel earlier this week about, like, do I need to just run Dante? Dante -1 to hit, ignore -1 AP. It's certainly going to help. I mean, it's not going to hurt, right? Mephiston, ignore -1 AP. I mean, Mephiston's big weakness is no invulnerable save. Well, no invulnerable save when you ignore -1 AP. Does that kind of counter one of his big weaknesses? I'd say maybe. I think the Bike Chaplain or the Bike Captain with Armor Indomitus, if we already thought that model was a beast, he's still so good. I mean, a buff to that Bike Captain to me is just like, oh my god, because the way that people have to kill him is they have to whittle him down with low AP weaponry, usually. You know, and because he only has that 2-up save, he is vulnerable to like a lot of fire at -1 or something. Well, I mean, he's not going to be vulnerable to a lot of -1 fire now, right? Or even he's not really going to be vulnerable to a lot of -2 fire or hits either. So the Bike Captain, I like the Bike Captain a lot, and I think Mephiston is a lot better as well. Dante and Astaroth are the other two outliers that people would say are strong, and I mean, they are stronger. You can't deny that they're not stronger. They're stronger against against every AP -1 and AP -2 weaponry, because I guess once you get to AP -3, they're onto their invulnerable save that they were on before. So if people were ever killing your characters with if they're killing your character with something giant like Mortarion rocks in and just slices your character apart, they're going to be no more survivable against that. But if they're typically having to use like a lot, like, you know, sometimes orcs will charge you. And like, you know, a squad of orcs will get like, what, 30 attacks, and it's like 30 -1 AP attacks coming in. Well, you're going to fail some of them because it's 30 attacks and it's -1. Well, now it's 30 attacks and it's 0 AP. So when you start saving on zeros, or when you start saving on purely 2-ups, you know, sometimes you can get lucky. You can roll 10, 15 saves on 2-up and not get a single one, you know? I mean, it goes both ways, but you know, at one point it felt like Games Workshop were trying to move away from like all these like really, really good saves. I think that's what they tried to do with invulnerable changes. So it seems like a little bit of a backtrack, but I mean, I guess I'm not gonna complain. I still like suppressors for their abilities, says the Legacy. Yeah, I mean, suppressors are fine. I think I think one thing that might come out of today's balance patch is people may actually finally understand what the Whirlwind does. And you know, the Whirlwind is not a unit that's taken for damage, it's just taken for the ability. because the whirlwind really didn't kill anything anyway. So now if the whirlwind kills anything, it'll be a miracle. I'm fully expecting to go through full games, but I mean, if it holds your backfield for the entire game and scores you like whatever, how many points that is in primary, 4 turns of 4, you know, if it holds the backfield and scores you 16 points and suppresses any enemy that needs to be suppressed, that's all it's there to do. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. A bike chaplain, tank built warlord, Dantity, and a Sanguinary Guard. I think that combo puts us at full power on turn 1. It's certainly a good combo, Stephen. I was thinking of running something similar. Jump Librarian with Artificer Armor will be nice as well. Yeah, I mean, I didn't typically rate Artificer Armor before, but maybe there's something to be said in it now. I mean, a Sanguinary Priest with Armor Indomitus could be on a 1-up save now as well. Or, I keep wanting to call it a 1-up save. Essentially, it's still the 2-up save, but it's 2-up ignore -1 AP. Robert says he's looking forward to a lot of models getting dusted off. It's about time. It certainly is about time. Death Company Dreadnought looks nice. You know what also looks nice would be an Ironclad Dreadnought, because toughness 8, Ironclad Dreadnought might be pretty tasty now. Obviously, I guess the other thing on the Ironclad is it has core, whereas the Death Company Dreadnought doesn't have core. A little bit annoying, but it is what it is. I'm convinced I did a video on the 2 of those before, and they're very, very, very similar. Another thing you could do, I suppose, is you could 75-point Quake Bolts Eliminators might see the field. Yeah, I mean, the Bodyguard change certainly makes Eliminators feel like they might be more viable. And before the Indirect change, I felt like Eliminators were kind of a liability against Tau. But what will Eliminators save on against Tau? If Tau Indirect Fire make it that the Eliminators can't get their cover save, so they'll be saving on 3s, but there'll be no AP on the Indirect Fire, and they'll still get +1. So Eliminators will still save on 2s, even though they can't get a cover save against Tau. So that'll help a lot, because I felt like Tau Eliminators were like a pretty hard counter against those Eliminators. Tech Marine was on 2-up. Do you know what we're doing? You guys know this. I'm sure some of you guys have voted. We're doing the thing on the channel, right, where we're voting for the worst Primaris model, and I'm like 90% sure the final is going to be Reavers, I guess, against those turrets. What are they called? The Fire Strike Servo turrets? Well, the Fire Strike Servo turrets have a 2-up save, so they'd be pretty durable now, ironically. A 90-point turret that's got like a twin autocannon that can just sit on an objective and is really hard to shift. Kevin says, isn't it all just AP is dropped by 1, even high AP? It is, Kevin, yeah. Why was there a question? I keep wanting to call it a 1-up save, because essentially the way I'm looking at it is like, normally if you save on 2s and you ignore -1 AP, it's kind of like a 1-up save anyway, right? Because like you'd always be saving on 2s against no AP, and you'd be saving on 2s against -1 AP. So like it's essentially, yeah, I keep calling it a 1-up save, but I know it's not, but it kind of is. The only time it's going to be weaker, I guess, is when the enemy attack has no AP, and I guess because I'm thinking about our strong units like Sanguinary Guard that already have a 2-up, it kind of just looks like a 1-up. But yeah, I guess like a regular Marine would, a regular Marine against AP -1 would be 3s, but against AP 0 would also be 3s. So it's essentially, you can't see it. It's wrong of me to say that it is a 1-up save. It's a 2-up save, but ignores -1 AP. That is what it is. But realistically, in playing, it's going to feel like that 1-up, right? anything with base 2+ seems much stronger. Well, Chip Hazard, anything... I don't know if you guys all caught the slides that I made before this video, but anything that was on a 2-up that is getting hit by -1 AP is now 100% stronger. And anything that was on a 2-up before that is getting hit by -2 AP is 50% stronger in terms of like raw survivability against the number of dice. So if before, let's say it took 5 bolt rifles to kill you because they're -1, it's now taking 10. Before, if it took like, let's say 5 Gatling cannon shots to kill you at -2, it's now taking 7.5. So yeah, it's actually more of a bonus for those models with the really low save. Like it's more impactful on like a model with a 2-up save. Yeah, it's AP reduced by 1. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you're right. Which makes me think, like, on the models such as, like, a super heavy tank, then it's actually the last GT I was at, I was pretty tempted to run my super heavy tank with my Blood Angels list. I was scared because I thought, like, it's probably not going to win a GT because it's kind of a stupid list. But no one knows how the hell to play against that. Death Company 5+++ strat might be more useful now as the unit will actually survive. Yeah, I mean, Death Company, you could do a lot with the Death Company now, right? Like if you go first and you put the Death Company, you do the standard stuff, you know, you Forlorn Fury them and you give them reroll hits and you give them reroll, you give them Assault Doctrine, and then potentially you have refusal to die to keep them alive, and you could also give them like Shield of Sanguinius, I suppose. You could also give them Unleash Rage. I mean, with a combo of like a Chapter Master, Mephiston, and a Priest, and the fact that they are a lot more survivable against small AP, and you could throw that invulnerable save on them, then I think like Death Company, well, I mean, look, I'm painting them. You guys haven't seen me run Death Company in about 18 months, right? I definitely didn't run them at all. I actually don't think I've run them since we got our Codex. Maybe like once since we got our Codex. So, yeah, I don't have enough with Thunderhammers, so here I am. Here I am. Vector says I'm kind of sad about Thunderhammers just because they're -1 AP into other Marines. Yeah, I guess that's why I think the Assault Doctrine is going to be really key now. I think we're going to need to get into Assault Doctrine early, I guess, and I think probably every single game in turn 3, and unless it's a strange game where there's not going to be that much close combat in turn 3. I think every single game in turn 3 we'll be playing Red Rampage now. We'll be wanting as much AP as we can. There may even be a little bit of like, you know, this is the thing with Sanguinary Guard. I actually bought some more Sanguinary Guard like not too long ago, a few months ago, and I was feeling stupid for having bought them because I was like, ugh, Sanguinary Guard are just falling out of the meta for me. And then it's like, well, here we go, like our swords going to be better again. I mean, into other Marine factions, swords will be better than axes for sure. So yeah, this is why when it comes to Sanguinary Guard, it does go round in circles. It's like the swords are better, the axes are better, the swords are better, the power fists are useful. I think with Sanguinary Guard right now, you could really see squads of swords reappearing, or I like to run them mixed because I think mixed gives you a good coverage. You know, like if you're going with like 7, like 3 swords, 4 axes or something. And for the last 6 months, I've been leaning towards more axes. But I'm thinking now maybe it should be time to lean a little bit more into more swords. 200 Thunderhammers and Deathwatch vets box, so planning on running 4 in my 8-man Death Company squad. Yeah, I'm planning on running 3, I think, in a Warhammer 40k used to do this. Thank you so much for following. I'm planning on running 3 Thunderhammers, I think, into a 5-man Death Company squad, and Forlorn Fury, and I'm probably going to bring back the Priest, and I'm probably going to... well, I'm definitely going to give them, like, Chapter Master rerolls as well, and I think I might have Quake Bolts in there, so I could have, like, you know, the Thunderhammers, full rerolls, +1 to hit from Quake Bolts, we're in the Assault Doctrine, and then Unleash Rage from Mephiston as well. 84 people watching tonight, guys. If you are enjoying tonight's stream, I do appreciate if you hit the like. Keith says, it got missed, but I'm hoping to hear your opinion on Death Guard and how much benefit they already have having -1 damage. How bad are they going to be to go up against now? I mean, to kill Death Guard, right? And like, I played Death Guard this week. To kill, like, and it was a 10-man Death 10-man Death Guard Terminator squad, Blightlord Terminators. And like, to kill a squad like that, you're going to need to hit them with like a lot of weaponry. So it tends to be reasonably high AP stuff anyway. Like when I'm hitting them, I was hitting them with like Thunderhammers and Lightning Claws, and yeah, I was hitting them in early game. So the -2 puts them on the 4-up saves. So this is why I think Assault Doctrine is going to be key, because if you have a squad that's essentially in the Assault Doctrine, then that -3 is going to put those Terminators on the 4-up saves that they are anyway. I think this change is going to benefit Plague Marines maybe more than the Terminators. Because like typically you don't charge, like, talk about Death Guard Terminators, you're never going to charge them with an Assault Squad, right? Because you know you're just going to lose your Assault Squad. So just your Assault Squad, if your Assault, and before the changes, the Assault Squad's not going to do any damage against Death Guard Terminators anyway, right? So like, you're not typically running low AP stuff into a squad of Death Guard, be it Blight Lords or be it Death Shroud Terminators. If you're going to charge those Terminators, you're going to charge them with something strong that you think can do a lot of damage. And in my case, it's close combat Terminators, Sanguinary Guard, Vanguard Vets with hammers, or in the future probably Death Company with hammers, right? So I think it's going to make like their Marines, the Plague Marines, a lot better. I guess it's going to make some of their armor better, a little bit more survivable. I mean, Death Guard are a counter to a bunch of armies, and they've fallen out of the meta because everything else has come out and has been so strong. So I'm kind of happy to see Death Guard get some buffs. I typically don't have too many problems when I play against Death Guard, and I think the reason is their army's quite slow. David said that they're faster than people think, but yeah, I mean, they can be fast, but I do think that we have enough speed to play around Death Guard. Maybe if we see Mortarion coming in more often now, because I guess even Mortarion's going to get ignore -1 AP. I mean, typically you only have to hit Mortarion with 1 AP to push him onto his invulnerable save, but I guess we're going to... I mean, I'd be lying if I said the changes aren't going to help Death Guard. I just don't know if... I don't know. I think against Death Guard, you choose your battles, you choose your engagements, and I think if you play it right, you can win the game without having to... I think if you just run in and fight them head to head, you're probably going to lose, because they're durable, they're survivable, but like, if you have squads of Sanguinary Guard that can like, or Vanguard Veterans or whatever, that can push and pull on the board, I don't think Death Guard are a particularly great army at scoring secondaries either. So I think there's ways that we can beat Death Guard. I'll play Death Guard on the channel, I'm sure, a few times, and with this battle in Slate. I actually said to Colin I want a rematch against him actually playing Blood Angels, because Colin had a pretty solid Death Guard list, right? You guys saw the game on Monday, some of you, and it's one of the strongest Death Guard lists I've seen. And the way that he could turn off all those rerolls was really, really nasty. But I actually think if I just not engaged him in the middle and just moved around and hit them fast and hard on the sides, I think I would have won that game anyway. So, yeah. So what does that mean? Oh, what was that question? Sorry. Take This says, so does that mean none of them get an extra point of AP? Thanks for the answer, much appreciated. Does that mean what? None of what get an extra point of AP? Rizal says Black Templars have lost ground. I think they have, because this actually changes. This actually boosts like a lot of the other Marine factions, right? Templar troops are insane now. Good luck mowing through 20 obsec bodies that ignore -1 AP. Like I said, this change actually helps models with a lower save a lot better. So like models like Sanguinary Guard that were already on a 2-up save get more benefit out of this change than a model that was on a 3-up save. What's your take on Death Company with chainswords and infernal pistols after this bump, says Red Rabbit 333. Well, chainswords are going to be weak into other Marines now, right, Death Rabbit? So, because there's literally going to be no AP. So, I think, yeah, I mean, I think we're just going to see less chainswords. I think if you want Death Company now, it's probably going to have to be hammers, and I think you're also going to have the priest to put them into Assault Doctrine earlier. Otherwise, or you're going to have to pay, what is it, like 2 ZP to cast Adaptive Strategy and get them into Assault Doctrine earlier. Because, again, into other Marines, I guess, it's going to be weak. Crusader Swords and Swords Brethren are looking more viable now. Yeah, I was asking the Whirlwind and Rage plus Red Rampage. Red Jake answered. Okay, alright, as long as you've got your answer, that's cool. Death Company with Power Swords, wow. I mean, sure. Power Swords, how much is a Power Sword in a Death Company? 3 points or something? A little sad that they don't get the +1 attack from having the Power Sword though, right? But, yeah, I guess chainswords are just going to be weak now, right? I mean, Death Company mow down stuff even with chainswords being originally AP 0. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I think this is, I think it's good. I think that the fact that we have the Red Rampage, which is a stratagem that no one ever used, I feel like if anyone used it, tell me in the chat, but I literally never used it. So I think that we have a way with Assault Doctrine essentially to get that extra point of AP, and then when we need it and we know that there's a turn that there's going to be a lot of charges, we can use that and really try and fish for those 6s. And I mean, if you're running something like Unleash Rage, where you want to proc 6s anyway to get additional hits, then they're just going to be a double whammy of additional hits at higher AP. So I think it's good. 5 points, I think, is a Power Sword on Death Company. I mean, I guess, Power Swords are never bad. The +1 strength could be useful again. The +1 strength could probably be pretty useful into the meta, right? Highland Phoenix, where there's a lot of Toughness 5 stuff running around, right? Five points, I cheat for a Power Sword. Nice, considering the amount of attacks. Okay, so I should grab some Death Company with Power Swords and add paint to them as well. Good evening, Grim. How you doing? Big Grim's in the house. He's an Eldar player, so he'll be very happy that those the Void Weavers went up 45 points per model. Hope you didn't rush out and buy any of them, Big Grim. Sorry if you did. Power Fists, I guess, get a bit of a indirect buff here as well, right? Because Power Fists essentially were. I think Power Fists were essentially -3 AP, and -3 AP is probably quite good now. I'm an axe over a sword guy, says Highland Phoenix. I mean, I guess you could run power axes on the Death Company, but then don't you have the same problem? Whereas if you run it, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna run power swords or power axes, as much as you maybe are an axe guy, I think power swords are a better choice. eBay is full of clowns and custodes now, says Manuel. Probably full of Tau as well. Kev says he's not a Harlequin player, so there's no fear. Okay. I think Void Weavers went from, what was it, 90 points per model to 130? It was a lot. Greetings, left-handed Texan. How are you doing tonight? Are you excited about the battle slate? It seems like Games Workshop have finally realised that Marines haven't been doing so well. And it's very welcome. Because it's been very frustrating being a Marine player for about a year at this point. Plus 360 points to some of the Harlequin lists, fucking hell. That is ridiculous. I mean, if here's the thing, guys, like, don't chase the meta and run out and buy new armies, because like it just comes back to bite you, doesn't it? Those new armies get like one tournament in the sun, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're definitely getting nerfed. And I said that to Andrew with his Tau, because he was like, I actually don't know if Andrew bought any new Tau, Kev, maybe you know, with his after the Tau Codex came out, and he was like, oh, it's balanced. I was like, it's not balanced, Andrew. How can you not see this? You're killing half my army with indirect fire, and there's nothing I can do to even get close to you, you know? So yeah, I mean, don't rush out and buy the new hot army, because it never lasts. I mean, I know some people that bought like, what was it, like 20 of those orc buggies, and then they were like, no, you can only have 3 of them. So they had to like eBay like 10 to 15 orc buggies that were made and painted, and who knows how much time they spent on them. Dreadnoughts as well are looking good. Chaos Space Marine friends of mine are real big on Leviathans now. Toughness 7, 2+, ignore AP -1, says JW. What do I think about Land Raiders now? Ah, man. I mean, I played Land Raiders this week, 2 of them, for the first time in like... I think it was the first time in 9th. I played, or do you know what? I think Colin said I played them once before in 9th. They don't work. Like, yeah, one of the Land Raiders survived on like 13 wounds, but the Land Raiders don't do any damage. They're too expensive in points, and in the game against Death Guard, my Land Raider was locked in combat by like, what was it, like 4 or 5 Poxwalkers for like 2 or 3 turns. And yeah, you had to spend some CP to revive the Poxwalkers or whatnot, but it's just stupid that you have this giant tank that's like stuck, and all it can do is shoot its guns at -1 to hit on these Poxwalkers. It's like, ugh. I would love Land Raiders to be competitive. I think they're such a cool model. And when I bought the Black Templar Codex, I love the fact that the Black Templars have a strategy, or a stratagem, sorry, that lets you charge out of Land Raider in the turn after it's moved. That's so cool. But like, they just don't work. I mean, today's buff is, if you want to run some sort of hard-hitting tank, run a really hard-hitting tank. Don't try and run the transport one like the Land Raider or the Repulsor. I mean, there might even be a play, an argument for a Repulsor Executioner now, maybe. Texan uses the Land Raider as a roadblock. I mean, yeah, I guess you could do that. And the Achilles is a good Land Raider, says Reziel. That's true. I think all vehicles are much better now. They can't really be scratched by low R fire. They are better, but they can get stuck up in combat, which is a problem. I mean, the other thing that was stupid today is they should have put the Storm Surge for Tau up about 100 points. There's no Tau players in the chat, is there? Oh, hey Rennie, how you doing? Yeah, no, I don't know. I think the Tau. I think that the fact that they removed core from the battle suits, the broadsides, is enough for Tau. I think there's too many lists that were like going really heavy on those battle suits. Both of them, I guess, the small ones and the big ones, and both changes today kind of nerfs those a little bit. They're probably just 10 or 20% too good. They're just a bit obnoxious. Steven says he's mathed it out. Vanguard Veteran Lightning Claws on 5 attacks do more damage than 6 Chainsword attacks. I think Death Company gotta use hammers, maybe a 5-man squad max. And I think that's probably what we're gonna see, is like small Death Companies with a lot of hammers, aiming to like basically trade up in turn 1. And I think if you can also use that to like make your opponent's deployment choices pretty difficult, I think that's what we're gonna see the most of. And I mean, I don't have 5 guys with hammers. Even after painting these 2, I'm not going to have 5. But I think over the next few weeks, I'll probably get another couple ready. Because I think if you've got Death Company, you probably want the option of fielding the 5-man full hammers, or a mix of hammers and... I mean, a mix of hammers and chainswords. Just bear in mind the chainswords are going to be a bit weaker now. That is just what it is, I guess. The AP bonus loss from Montcalm is big. Yeah, I mean, the AP that Montcalm used to give them was obnoxious as well. GW took the assault ramps for Land Raiders and gave it to Impulsors. If you want to talk about the problems with that, Kev, the Impulsor is literally fucking open topped. Why can't you shoot out of the Impulsor? Like, you know, Drukhari have a rule where they have an open-topped vehicle and they just shoot out of the top. The Impulsor doesn't come with a roof. It's the most open-topped vehicle that exists. It's 100% open-topped. It's stupid, is my answer. Does anyone know if the Storm Raven stacks with the -1 to hit? It would stack, Nico. But the thing to remember is hit rolls can never be modified by more than -1 or +1. So basically, if you have 2 -1s and the enemy has no pluses to their hit roll, it's still going to be -1. So the only reason to play Smokescreen would be if they have like something that's giving them like +1 to hit aircraft, which would negate the -1 from hard to hit, and then you would get the +1 from your Smokescreen. So Smokescreen has some value if the enemy has plus to hit, but if they don't have that plus to hit, then it has no value, I guess, right? Death Company need an auto pass morale. They need to be fearless. Well, I mean, that would be the reason to run the 5-man Death Company, right? Because you're accepting that they're probably going to take some losses, and I think if you want to run like a 10-man Death Company, you'd probably almost be forced to run them with Astroath, right? Just so you can auto-pass your morale tests. Have we spoke about Centurions yet, says Tezab? I mean, I touched on them a tiny little bit in my Balance Slate videos, Tezab. What do you want to speak about with Centurions? I assume you're talking close combat Centurions, because not many Blood Angels players are running Assault. Sorry, not many Blood Angels are running Centurion Devastators, right? We're talking Assault Centurions. I mean, Centurions got better for sure, and because they're one of those units that's on a 2-up save, they actually got a lot, like, they get the most benefit from this change. Because essentially they've got the most places to go when AP starts coming in, right? Centurions are like impervious to small arms fire as well now. I've had some fun lists where I immediately drop 2 Storm Ravens in my opponent's deployment zone turn 1 with Corbolo for some Assault Doctrine changes. You can't arrive from tactical... Oh, you just mean fly them over straight into the... I thought when you meant drop, you meant like you just drop them in. Yeah, I mean, you can... Storm Ravens are fine if you go first, I guess, but like there are a lot of points to lose if you don't go first, and my experience is they're not that survivable. I mean, today's change gives them a bit more survivability, but I still think they're not a very survivable unit in my opinion. I'm building Death Company right now, so I'll magnetize them so I can swap jump pack and weapons. I don't feel confident committing to one loadout, says the end. Yeah, that's fair enough. I already have a lot of Death Company with chain swords and bolt pistols, so I think for me, I just need to add a bunch of hammer guys to the mix. It's hammer time. Hellblasters look better now? They do a bit. I hate models that kill themselves when they're firing, though. Tau will still be able to shoot you off the damn board if you aren't super cagey. I mean, but we are one of the best armies to be able to jump from cover to cover, right, Kevin? And I guess as much as Tau will be able to shoot us off the army, or shoot us off the board, we'll be a lot more survivable against their indirect fire, and that's just going to be great, because their indirect fire, the amount of damage it did was just kind of stupid. So overall, I mean, this balance slate gets a thumbs up for me. I need to play it for a while, but like, I'm just really happy that they did something for Marines, because before the balance slate came out, I was convinced that we were going to have another 3 to 6 months of just Marines sitting somewhere pretty poor, I guess. Like, we're just not able to compete unless we're playing like one of the quote-unquote meta Marine chapters, which is like, I guess, Dark Angels or Black Templars. Is there another Marine chapter that was more meta than those two right now? I don't think so. Rizal says Mephiston doesn't do enough of anything compared to the other options. I don't rate him at all, except a lower pick. I'm gonna probably run Mephiston, Rizal, and I'm gonna run him because he doesn't cost any CP to run, I think, and I might even take him to a tournament. I still would like more improvements to him, but I mean, like, you know, how long do we wait to get more improvements? I'm kind of off null zone, you know that? Custodes have like a, you know, if you rely on null zone against Custodes, they just have that one stratagem that's like a 4-up, they'll just deny it. And I believe they can actually have a second deny on the same power if they want, so yeah, I'm kind of off null zone as a. I think I'm at the point now where I'm just playing Unleash Rage. I'm trying to make that work, and it is more swingy, I guess, because sometimes when you get a bunch of hits, you don't make any 6s. But if you make a bunch of 6s, Unleash Rage can be legitimately pretty strong. So, I think I'm just making the best of like a, I guess I'd say like a bad situation, a duff situation. Jim says Astrath is king, how dare you. Salamanders and Iron Hands look interesting. We might see a return of the Iron Hands. You know, if Iron Hands are even a slightly bit strong, Andrew will be wanting to play some games on the channel as Iron Hands. DTM says I was worried that they might just buff Codex Loyal Dog Marines, so I'm happy they buffed Sisters, Death Guard and Thousand Suns. Yeah, I feel like Death Guard probably needed a little something. Thousand Suns I thought were in a pretty interesting place, but this will help. And Grey Knights, I don't have enough experience against Grey Knights. Did Grey Knights need this +1? I guess maybe because, like we said, their Dread Knights just got a lot worse against Marines. So maybe this is why they gave them this +1, I guess. But I mean, Dread Knight spam is obnoxious, and seeing that changed, I think, is something I'm 100% fine with as well. This -1 spam will hurt Imperial Fists. Well, fortunately, Imperial Fists don't have their codex yet, so hopefully when their codex is ready to come, you know, GW will be aware of that, and they'll get whatever they need to get to make them competitive. But yeah, Imperial Fists were apparently the worst performing faction up to date in 9th. So I mean, I guess they could maybe just spec more towards like no AP shots and just go for shitloads of no AP shots, because like, you know, for example, auto bolt rifles over bolt rifles. What's next? How would Hand Flamers and Death Company work against Elder? 5-man squad would be able to have 30 shots, auto hitting, then wounding on 4s before the charge. I mean, Hand Flamers are okay. I've never been a huge fan. I think they're probably too like, yeah, they'd be good into that one situation that you mentioned, but they'd probably be bad into a lot of other situations, or lackluster into other situations. So at that point, do you bother, I guess? As a player, I think Armor of Contempt is wonderful, says Big Grim. Yeah, I mean, are we going to see the Space Wolves, Big Grim? Because I know you play the Wolves. Or the Space Puppies, as we like to call them in this channel. I mean, they're not very scary to us. I actually have been trying to get Space Wolves on the channel for like a year, but we have another friend, Steven, that plays Space Wolves, and I think they're probably, I think him and Kev are just scared that, like, you know, if the Space Wolves come on the channel, then it'll be obvious that the Blood Angels are in fact the superior race of Marines, and then, you know, it'll end any debate that they're clinging on to, you know. What are the tunes playing? They're from Streambeats. You can find everything, every piece of music on this channel just about is from Streambeats. It's just streambeats.com. It's all royalty free. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you want. And very cool guy set that site up. So yeah, if you ever need royalty free music, I highly recommend Streambeats. I missed something. What should be cost? I think he's considerably too expensive. Oh, Astaroth you think is too expensive. I kind of agree. I kind of feel like Jake Dale coming in with the two pounds via super chat. Take away from your personal list from this. You mean my personal army list, Jake, that I will be playing like in the next game that I play, basically? Balanced Hydra says attack bikes, would they be worth bringing back? I'm really thinking about trying some attack bikes out, Hydra. I think they're going to be a lot more interesting, for sure. I mean, everything is more interesting. Centurions, attack bikes, aggressors, everything that we sort of was like, ugh, not sure if these are good. Jake says yes, changing any units out. Okay, so yeah, my thoughts are, and I mean, if you've been watching my armies for a while, I've been running the Primaris Tech Marine, and I'd gone away from the Sanguinary Priest. I mean, I think the main reason I'd gone away from the Sanguinary Priest is I probably felt he was too expensive. I mean, I was running him as Selfless Healer and stuff like that, right? So he's very expensive with a jump pack as a Selfless Healer. And thank you so much for the $2. I appreciate that, Jake. But I think coming into it now, we're probably going to want a Sanguinary Priest. I don't necessarily think he needs to be the Selfless Healer, but I think we want him to get the units into Assault Doctrine earlier and get us that additional AP. I think that's going to be important. I also think that Redemptors are possibly going to see a bit of resurgence within Blood Angels because they'll get saves against a lot of nasty things. But I think if you want to continue to run a Tech Marine and you want to go that way and run a Tech Marine with the Redemptors, I think that's going to be totally viable now. I think I'm going to go a different way though. I think I'm going to go with Contemptors, and for now anyway, and I might fall back onto the Redemptors in the next 6 months. We'll see. You know, I'm experimenting. I'm trying to build my next GT list, I guess. But I think that if I go Contemptors, then I don't need the Tech Marine because Contemptors never get profiled, right? When they're on one wound, they still shoot at full power. They don't degrade, I guess. So I think maybe like Contemptors, maybe like with a Chainfist, or it doesn't necessarily need to be Chainfist, just basically a Contemptor with a melee weapon and a Volkite cannon, and a cyclone missile launcher. So like maybe a couple of them, or one of them plus eradicators. The reason I like the Volkite is I think the Volkite is very good at opening up Drukhari raiders. I played against Drukhari a few weeks back, and I haven't played against them in a while, and I felt like the one thing I really struggled with was opening up the raiders, and Volkite Contemptors are very, very good at that, because they're, you know, the 2 damage and the AP helps a lot. So not the AP, the mortal wounds help a lot, and also the raiders typically, you know, like if you're hitting raiders with multi-meltas, you're wasting a lot of AP. So I think like maybe like bringing back the priest and possibly bringing back attack bikes as well. I mean, if you've got the priest in there, the attack bikes are definitely a good option with the priest. He helps keep them alive, he revives them and all sorts. And yeah, it's an interesting time. The list that I built actually had like, so Death Company I haven't run in 6 months, more than that, probably 18 months. So I think I'm going to run Death Company. I think I'm probably going to go back to my Terminators with bolters, because Terminators with bolters with a 1-up save is pretty nice, or a 2-up, keep calling it a 1-up save, a 2-up save with -1 AP, which kind of is a 1-up save. But yeah, I think I'm going to run possibly Terminators with bolt guns, Death Company, Vanguard Veterans, Sanguinary Guard, a Contemptor and or attack bikes, a Whirlwind, and then probably like Mephiston, the Priest, and probably my custom Chapter Master, because I love him. Big Grim is painting an avatar tonight. Nice, Grim. Did you just get it? Did you? I do think Mortal Wounds are going to become more predominant, both because of NIDs and as a soft counter to the new MEQ armies. What do you mean by that? MEQ Marines or something? Remember your Soul Warden, Blood Angels players. I mean, I think Soul Warden is a good warlord trait. I've been telling people to include it for a while. So I guess if you have the priest though, you kind of have inbuilt shrug to a certain extent. But yeah, maybe you could run Soul Warden as well. I think that maybe a lot of like Blood Angels players might not. Well, I think a lot will not run Mephiston. I think a bunch might run the Sanguinary. Sorry, no. The Librarian, the Firstborn Librarian with a jump pack, because I still think that's a good choice. I guess if you're going to want to run double Redemptor, I think that's the best choice. But I haven't decided about my Redemptors. I can't decide if I'm... I mean, I went to a couple of tournaments with Redemptors, and the thing that turns me off for Redemptors, and I own 3 of them, so I'm probably stupid for buying 3, but the thing that turns me off from them is the plasma cannon having that random number of shots. That really turns me off from Redemptors. And I mean, I like so much today that they made Redemptors actually get save against some of that, you know, against some of the stuff in the meta that they wouldn't have a save before, like Dark Lances, for example, against blasters, like they're actually saving on 5s as opposed to 6s. Like, it's huge buff for Redemptors today. But when it comes down to it, when you're at a tournament and you really need to do some damage or something, and you roll a 1 for the number of shots in the plasma cannon, you know, yes, you can CP re-roll it, but like, I really don't want to be spending my CP re-rolling the number of shots for a weapon. Like, it's just a bad use of CP, I think, in general. Luminaris says, I hate the D6 shots. That's the thing that always fails me. Yeah, I mean, that it failed me at a key time in a tournament. And I think in that tournament, if I got a good number of shots, I might have gone 5-0. And like, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna hate my Redemptors because of that, even though I bought 3 of them. And I mean, I think that's... Yeah, and I mean, I've proved, I think, over the last year that you can run a Tet Marine in a Blood Angels army. You can run a Blood Angels army without a priest and be very, very successful. So I think maybe it's my time to return to the priest now. I'm not sure I'm running him as a selfless healer though. I think that's the thing that might be different. Like, I'm just running him, or maybe I'm running him without a jump pack. I really haven't decided, but yeah, I mean, those are my takeaways, I guess. And I don't dislike the Tech Marine, and I don't dislike the plan of doing double Redemptor with the Tech Marine. I obviously took it to a bunch of tournaments, Jake, and it was good. But yeah, you know, I try and build the strongest lists I can on this channel, so that when I go to a tournament, I'm really well prepared, and that's what I'll be doing. So I mean, tune in every Monday night. You know, you'll just see me every week. I iterate my list. Do you think Centurions are back on the menu, says Lorenzo? I have a question about that, and it relates to that Lord of the Rings movie. And you guys might think this is a stupid question, but here's my question, right? For anyone that's seen, what movie was that? Return of the King, the Lord of the Rings movie. Can I just ask, how did the Uruk-hai know what a menu was? Bet you didn't think of that one. Because he's like, meat's back on the menu, boys! It's like, where have the Uruk-hai been going that they get a menu? Oh, it's Two Towers, says Jake. Yeah, good call. I was just at the start of that movie. Yeah, I could be forgiven for thinking it was in the Fellowship of the Ring. Sorry. The menu is at the Prancing Pony, says Christian. I mean, all right, technically there would have been a menu at the Prancing Pony, but I'm not sure that many Uruk-hai had been there. David says we'll pass 150. Oh, you guys are arguing about the cost of Astaroth. I liked Astaroth when he was 110 points. You know that? Like, he was kind of an auto include for me when he was 110 points. Honestly, I wish you'd go. I think 150 is pricey for Astaroth. I tend to agree with David. I think, yeah, I think it's pricey. Maybe 130. I guess I think the reason they've priced him so high is because he's got the ability to get that 4 damage weapon, but he is the Master of Sanctity, but his Warlord trait isn't the Wiserator, which is kind of like it's kind of backwards, right? Like, if he is the Master of Sanctity, his Warlord trait probably should be the Wiserator, so you can do the double litanies on 2s. I go as far as saying that if he had that, maybe he's worth 150, but where he is right now, he's maybe worth like 130, 135, 110. Yeah, like 110 probably was too cheap. Like, he was an auto include at 110, I felt like. So what about you guys? What is the plan? Has anyone built a list? Is anyone building one? Has anyone got any ideas for... Has anyone got any outside the box ideas? Like, has anyone thought of what they're gonna... Because you guys must have games coming up as well, right? Same as me. So what's the plan? Soul Warden is more valuable in Astaroth. I mean, I guess if you're running Astaroth with like a squad of Sanguinary Guard, it would be very valuable. But I mean, he's typically running with the Death Company, right? Who are already on a Feel No Pain, so it's got slightly less value. I don't know. I guess we could debate Astaroth all day long. Eliminators for sure. With the Bodyguard rule getting hit hard, that's the plan, to include some rifle eliminators. Fair enough. Do you find that one squad of rifle eliminators is enough though? Because when I ran eliminators in a single squad, I always felt like they just lacked a little bit enough of a punch to like make opponents really fear for their characters' lives. You know, and at that point, then you're talking like, well, do I need 2 squads of eliminators? That's 150 points, and at that time, it's sort of starting to become quite a big point investment to get those snipers, right? David asks the same question, do snipers do enough damage? I was working on a 4 times assault Terminator list that seems to have gotten better, says Joe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I feel about going for 4 times assault Terminators, But yeah, I mean, any Terminators with lightning claws definitely have got better, right? Unfortunately, Terminators with storm shields didn't change, but that's not the end of the world. I mean, Terminators with storm shields were still good. They still are good. Just lightning claw Terminators, I guess, got the edge in terms of points. Nico isn't a tournament player, but he's thinking of running Infernal Pistols in the Sanguinary Guard and making some Death Company with Hand Flamers for deviation for the standard lists. Otherwise, the 3 times Flamer Battle Predators. Wow. I mean, I guess Battle Predators got better. I didn't think we'd be talking about Battle Predators on the stream, but anyone gonna try and run some Battle Predators? Is that a thing that we'll see? How's the painting competition going? The painting competition is going grand, the end, and I should probably say that just now since there's 89 people watching the stream. I appreciate you guys hanging out. We are doing a live stream for the painting competition on Saturday night. It'll kick off just about the same time tonight's streams kicked off. Tonight I think we kicked off about 9:45. We're kicking off at 9:30. We'll be live for probably like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And we'll be picking the 2 winners for the prizes. The prizes are still in their cellophane on my windowsill. Let me show you. Once I figure out where this curtain goes. Yeah, here we go. Look, we got Horus Heresy. Blood Angels Chapter Master Ralderon. We get 2 of these. They're getting given away on the stream Saturday night. And you know, maybe we'll have more painting competitions in the future, but this was a big one. We had almost 80 entries, so a lot of people entered. Do you think your current list benefits massively from the balance? Well, I mean, I'm trying to think the last Blood Angels list that I ran. Just trying to think where that actually would be. Let me think. Let me pull up the last Blood Angels list that I ran. Because I didn't play Blood Angels this week on the channel. And I think the week before that I couldn't get the opponent. So the last game I played Blood Angels was the game against Dukari a few weeks back. So what would have been better? Well, my captain on a bike would have been more survivable, right? Because he would have got ignore AP -1. Mephiston would have been more survivable. He got ignore AP -1. My other captain, who was wearing a storm shield on a bike, would have got 10 points cheaper because there's no point in him having a storm shield, because the storm shield does literally nothing for him anymore because he already has a 4-up save because he's captain. My assault intercessors, my incursors, and my infiltrators would have all been more survivable. My relic contemptor, more survivable. My sanguinary guard, more survivable. My Terminator assault squad, both guys with lightning claws, become more survivable. My Vanguard veteran squad, I guess there is no change there. My land speeder becomes more survivable. My eliminators become more survivable. My eradicator becomes more survivable, and my whirlwind becomes more survivable but does less damage. Thank you, Devin, so much for subscribing. So I mean, if we break that down, about 80% of my list becomes more survivable, and when you move the dice roll essentially 1 point on just about every attack, because let's face it, Dukari aren't really hitting you with a lot of AP0 stuff. So basically every single save in that game I would have saved on 1 less. That game was actually a draw, so I would argue that like I would have 100% won that game if every single save essentially got shifted 1 dice roll, right? So like, does it benefit my current list? I'd say yes, like quite a lot, I guess, when you break it down like that. And as mentioned, any unit that has a good save, like Sanguinary Guard, for example, and I think Sanguinary Guard are going to be the big winners from this. Am I still doing the Army List show on Sunday? Yeah, man. Army List show goes out every Sunday, Rizio. How come? The big winners from this are going to be units that have a 2-up save. So if you have a 2-up save, you're going to get kind of the most benefit. Because on a 2-up save, when you get hit with -1 AP and you're still on a 2-up save, that's a 100% increase in survivability against -1 weapons. Which is a lot, you know? So against stuff like assault cannons, Gatling cannons, what else has a lot of -1 AP? Orcs with their choppas. You're just 100% more survivable against them. John's looking forward to his next match, says Ed. Yeah, I mean, I'm always looking forward to my next game of 40k. That's the problem with having 2 kids, is I only get like 1 game of 40k a week. If it was up to me, I would like to play more than once a week, but it's not feasible, I'm afraid. Mephiston might be more interesting as a mental interrogation option. He can do action and still go off in Blender, whatever he wants. Yeah, I mean, Mephiston is an option for mental interrogation. My experience with mental interrogation, or I think you've called it the wrong name, I think it's psychic interrogation, Luminaris. And thanks for being here, Luminaris. I don't think we've met before, but I appreciate you hanging out in the stream. I think the problem with mental interrogation or psychic interrogation is it's hard to do with just one psyker. Because if the enemy have any number of denies, or if they're a more psychic army than you, then it can very quickly like throw a spanner into the works and make it difficult for you to do. So just be aware that like that is something that does happen. MB says hello from Hong Kong, great datasheet post, very happy with the new release. Well, greetings Hong Kong. Actually, good evening. I have no idea what time it must be in Hong Kong right now. I'm trying to think. They're east, so I don't know. I actually have no idea. What do you think about heavy flamers on the Death Company Dreadnought? The -1 AP hurts it a bit. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Heavy flamers do... We have taken an indirect nerf to damage from this update. What's the poll say? 76%. How many people voted? 76% out of 191 votes said that they liked the changes, 4% said they didn't, and about 20% said they were undivided. I've got Warhammer on my brain. Undecided, not undivided. Okay. That's interesting, isn't it? It's like 6 AM in Hong Kong. Nico, I'm going to have to go soon, but I'd like to say you're an awesome guy. John, thanks for everything you do, putting up with my ludicrous ideas. Thanks for watching, Nico. I do really appreciate you guys hanging out. Heavy flamers will still be good against hordes, says Highland Phoenix. It's only for armies that are in power armor that are not going to be good against. That's a very good point. I guess it's just something you will need to think about when we're building our lists, right? Like if you're bringing a ton of AP -1 firepower, if you run into other Marines, then it's really not going to be that useful anymore, I guess, right? So as long as we are aware of that, nice. I actually didn't know that membership graph was going to update when someone became a new member, so thank you so much for that. It actually does work. I was like, wow, I'm not sure this thing is going to work. Cool. I think I tried to use one of them before and it didn't work, so it's nice that this one is working. It's 6:50 AM on an early bird, sipping coffee, making breakfast as we speak. Well, good morning. So, yeah, I guess it must be Friday for you. Do you get the long weekend? Do you get Easter weekend in Hong Kong? Do you celebrate Easter? I'm actually off work tomorrow because we do celebrate Easter here. I've got no plans for tomorrow. I just know I am not working, which will be grand. These last few weeks at work have been pretty stressful. This is why I think Deathwatch might be a bit of a miss. They're weaker into power armor. GW says, I'm a white scar specialist. Believe me, I know. I do prime in black, paint with grey blue, then 2 off-white greys, and then pure white highlights. Now do that army-wide. Do you know what? I am not a huge fan of painting Death Company in black, I'll tell you that. I like the end product, but it takes me forever to get there, and you guys know how slow I am at painting, so I'm probably just going to put 3 colours on these guys for now so that they're playable with, and then I'll go finish that Terminator squad that we're going to be that I've been working on for about a month, or probably 2 months. I don't know if that Terminator squad is going to be in my next list. That's what always happens to me. I almost finish a squad and like, look at these Terminators. They were so almost finished. They were really getting there. But now I don't think I'm going to be including them in my next list. We'll see. I got a real a real want to go back to trying the bolter Terminators, just because I think that they're going to be cheap, and I really want to try Relic Terminators as well, because again, they're going to be really cheap in points, and they really are quite durable, I think. Astroth is having his day in the sun. He's unintentionally benefiting from this greatly. Thomas is asking, what about the Whirlwind? Do you think Librarian Dreadnoughts are more viable? Yeah, I mean, I think everything's more viable. I think a Librarian Dreadnought might be cool now. I mean, at -4, they're still getting a save, which is nice. I know it's a crappy save, but it's still a save. It's better than nothing. Thomas LePage, what was the question about the Whirlwind? I don't see all of it. I just see half of it. John's asking how should build assault Terminators. Well, I mean, I've just painted 3 with Thunderhammers and 2 with Lightning Claws, but that was right before this update. Now I don't know, John, but yeah, 3 and 2 is going to be the correct way to do it, I think. I don't know which way is going to be slightly better. Before the balanced Dataslate, I definitely felt like it was 3 with the Thunderhammers was the right choice. Now I'm not sure. Now I'm 50-50. Now it could go either way. And I'm not going to be able to know until I've played a few games with them and actually, you know, because I guess those Lightning Claw Terminators are going to be just as survivable into like into -3. It's only going to be in -4 where it drops off in terms of survivability. So like, yeah, I think I'm just going to have to test that, to be honest. Rizio would easily have a Librarian Dreadnought over Mephiston. That's true, but like, Mephiston would be pretty nice in cover now, right? Like, Mephiston would be a 1-up, ignoring -1 AP in cover. So like, if you hit Mephiston with a -4 now, he's saving on a 4? Is that right? So -3 on Mephiston in cover, he's saving on a 3? Regiso says these updates are why you magnetize your models, and yes, I highly recommend if you have the time and energy, because it's not difficult to magnetize, but yeah, this is definitely a reason to magnetize your models. Everything swings around so often, more often than you would expect it to swing around sometimes. Like today's changes for Marines were very unexpected. I was expecting 6 months more of mediocrity, to be honest. This update popped me back into the... I mean, I never left the Blood Angels camp. I actually have made, you know, as normal, I made a Blood Angels video this week, so I'm not sure I'm going to share it tomorrow, because obviously I just shared a video tonight. So I might not share this week's video tomorrow, and I might share it in a couple of days, so this one gets a little bit of time to breathe, because that's kind of how YouTube works, is like videos need a little bit of time to breathe with the algorithm. But although I played Black Templars for the first time this week, I think it was a really good learning experience for me, and I think over the next year or so, as the other Marine codexes come out, because Ultramarines, who else still needs to get their codex? White Scars, I guess maybe like Imperial Fists, but maybe not so much Imperial Fists. But I think White Scars and Ultramarines, I might buy both those codexes, and I might even play 1 or 2 games on the channel with those, because I think in some ways it will then let me make a video on like how I would, like if I'm a Blood Angels player playing into these armies, how would I play into these armies, and what did I learn from using them, essentially. So yeah, I was never out the Blood Angels camp. I just wanted to try the Black Templars Codex, and I'm glad I bought it, to be honest. If you guys want a video on what I learned by playing Black Templars for a few days or weeks or whatever it was, let me know, because I'm happy to make it. And I actually think Black Templars are a pretty strong army. Have you got a recommendation magnet size for Marine arms, please, John? I think you just want 1mm by 1mm, Andy. And the way I get them was on eBay. They really are tiny. I think I've got one on this guy here. Like, look how small it is. So, like, I guess that's a Space Marine arm. Measure how far that is across. And I'm pretty sure those are 1mm by 1mm. Because you don't want to be drilling too deep into these arms, because you might end up... and also, some of these bodies are hollow as well, so... yeah, it's a bit messy at the moment because the super glue kind of dries all white, but once you spray over that, you wouldn't... I don't think you'd notice that at all once he's together like that. Or if you're looking at him from top down, you'll never notice it. 2x1 works well for arms, says Luminaris. Highland goes for 3x1. When you talk about... What are you saying first? Are you saying the depth or the width first? I found the story of the Sanguinary Guard, John, is called Sanguine, and it's a free short story on the Warhammer community. Can you link that to me in Discord, Jim, and I'll check it out. €1 million question. I guess you mean like $1 million question, but euros. €1 million question. Would a Storm Raven get shot down in turn 1? Yes. Probably. Width and depth. 2mm wide. So have I actually put a 2? What size do you guys think this one is? Does that look like a 1x1? Or does that look like a 2x1? I have no idea. You think it's a 2x1? Okay, 2x1. Maybe you need to listen to the chat over me, Andy. I bought my magnets so long ago. I just bought like a... because they're pretty cheap. Element Games actually sells magnets if you're in the UK, and they're super cheap on there as well. And if you guys are ever buying anything from Element Games, there's a link you can use in the Discord to get like double crystals. Smorish86, good evening. How you doing, buddy? People saying that's the 3x1. Okay, well, I mean, I guess I don't know then, but I think small magnets, they feel very small when you're using them. I really thought they were 1x1. I'm sure I ordered some 1x1s. Don't know what else I would have used them for. I tried some 1mm wide for Wraithblades and they weren't strong enough and had to buy some 2x1s. Well, then it seems the consensus is buy some 2x1s, try them. I mean, it's usually like $1 or $1.50 for like 10 of them, so maybe you get some 2x1s and 1x1s and see what you think you need. But yeah, I bought a few various sizes because obviously, like, it's nice to be able to magnetize like dreadnought weapons and stuff like that, because, you know, dreadnoughts are obviously expensive, so you don't want to ever be having to like buy a second dreadnought for different weapon options and stuff. Ed says wider ones are better and less fiddly. They are very fiddly, the little magnets. So yeah, if people recommend 2x1, then I would listen to what people in chat recommend. That's probably a 2x1 I used on this thing. I honestly don't remember. But yeah, the small magnets, like if you drop them or anything, you can end up... It was funny actually. I've told this story before, but like in my old flat, I thought I dropped like a 1x2 magnet, or like one of those tiny little arm magnets, and you know, like I got a 2-year-old daughter, and I guess at the time she was like maybe 1.5, and she's crawling all over the floor. So I was like, oh god, I've lost this magnet somewhere on the floor. So I had to get the Hoover out and like move everything in the room, Hoover everywhere, because like obviously if a kid eats a magnet, that could be pretty dangerous. And I basically like said to my wife, like, you know, don't let our daughter in the room for like another couple of weeks, and I'll leave it a couple of weeks and see if I can find it, and then I'll Hoover it again. And like, you know, so I spent ages doing all this, moving all the furniture, everything. And then like later that evening or something, I took off my glasses like this, you know, as you do to like wipe your eyes. And on like the left hand bar of my glasses, there's just this little magnet stuck to it. And I was like, ah, you son of a... I literally spent like 2 hours looking for this thing on the floor. And it just somehow, I think what had happened was I might have like blown my nose and take my glasses off for a second, and the magnet had jumped, you know, and like caught onto the side of the glasses. But like I was freaking out because I was like, I've lost this magnet. My wife is literally going to kill me for losing this magnet with a 2-year-old. S'more says, I've followed your YouTube channel for a while. Can you do me a favor and explain why the new rules are very good for Blood Angels? Yeah, I mean, thanks for tuning in on Twitch. I actually did a video on the YouTube channel earlier tonight. I think it's called Balance Slate Winners and Losers. And I kind of jumped into everything, all the new rules in that video. So you could check that out. But I mean, in a nutshell, our whole army got between 16% and 100% more survivable. As I said, the way the maths works is the better armor save you have, the more advantage you got out of these changes, I guess. And some of our units like Terminators with Lightning Claws, Centurions, Vanguard Veterans, all these units, maybe not so much the Vanguard Veterans with their Storm Shields, but all these other units, Sanguinary Guard is a big one as well, essentially got a large buff to survivability. And survivability was the one thing that we were probably like lacking this whole edition. So it's good, yeah. Even our dreadnoughts, you know, the dreadnoughts as well. That was another thing, that our dreadnoughts, in some ways they were survivable because they had duty eternal, but they were also not survivable because they had no invulnerable save. Well, I guess that doesn't matter now because they essentially have plus ignore -1 AP. So anytime the enemy attacks you with a weapon of AP 1 or more, we're more survivable, and like we really don't get attacked by that much stuff that is AP 0, I feel like. 9th edition is not an edition where lots of shit is running around with AP 0. Like, I play a game every week and I cannot think of any army that's spamming AP 0 attacks. Well, none that I play against, anyway. Highland Phoenix has made a post on the Blood Angels Reddit about multiple units and descriptions of how he magnetized them. And the debuff to indirect fire, plus the changes to other armies, yeah. I mean, just everything about this balance slate is kind of nice for us. I mean, I guess it sucks that into other Marines we're not going to do quite as much damage, but into everybody else, I guess we're just a lot better. Which is something, right? I did pretty much vacuum and clear the room top to bottom, MB. Like, I was in the room for hours because it wasn't even that my wife was... Well, my wife would have been angry with me, but I was worried about my kid, you know? I was like, oh my God, like, I'll never... Like, if something happens to her because of me, because I'm an idiot and dropped a magnet on the floor, I don't know if I could live with myself. So I was just so glad that I found it attached to my glasses, even though I'd wasted like half the day trying to find it on the floor. And ever since then, and I guess this is a pro tip if you're working with magnets, I get like a craft knife or something and I stick every magnet I'm not using to the knife. So I have no danger of like them falling off the desk or rolling off the desk or sticking to something else. Steel Rain says shooty Terminators are the way to go now, not Lightning Claws. You can be shooty and with Lightning Claws, Steel Rain. Good evening, buddy, by the way. How are you doing? We're all very excited in chat tonight to know that Blood Angels finally got something that's going to help us be a bit more competitive again. Imperial Guard las guns might be decent under AP 0. Alright, yeah, I mean, we definitely haven't seen too many people even playing Imperial Guard, let alone running shitloads of lasguns. Werty, thank you so much for becoming a member. 9 months membership. Can't wait to try the new rules out this weekend. Nice, Werty. Are you making any changes to your list for this weekend then, or what's the plan? I'm going to make some changes to my list for Monday night, I think, and see if I can. Well, I think I'm going to run the Forlorn Fury Death Company for the first time in forever. Because it's the first time I've been running them in forever, the chances of me going first are basically 0. But I'm going to give it I'm going to put them on the board, and if I don't go first, it's fine. I'll maybe go first in a few weeks' time. My opponent has the new Tyrannic Codex arriving on Saturday. Well, I mean, at least Indirect Fire has been nerfed, Ed, because that was one of the things that Tyrannids were doing that was super strong. Atlas says the new Dataslate is quite nice. Sanguinary Guard have a 4-up save against -3, as does Mephiston. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I think Mephiston is maybe okay now. I mean, he was definitely better when they dropped him to 140 points, right? I do still think he would love a +1 to cast. I think that's the thing that I hate most about him. I mean, some people hate his weapon being D3, which I do hate a little bit, but like, I think it's more I wish he would have a +1 to cast. But Mephiston might be a little bit more interesting now. A little bit. New bugs look scary, says DTM. Steel Rain says, I was excited about the changes. Non-Storm Shield Vanguard vets viable now. Well, non-Storm Shield Vanguard vets would be okay, I guess. The question, I guess, would be, what are you giving non-Storm Shield Vanguard veterans? You giving them, like, are we talking double Lightning Claw here? How many attacks does that give each model? Is it 6 on the... Yeah? Because you get +2 base, and then potentially 2 for charging. So potentially 6? I'm not sure I like that as much as I like Sanguinary Guard. But I guess the points difference, so 2 Lightning Claw Vanguard vets would be 28 points, I think. And a Sanguinary Guard would be 32 points. So yeah, I mean, viable, yes. But I think the big winners today, anyway, in my opinion, are probably Death Company, because they're so cheap right now, and anything that was on a 2-up save before. But to a certain extent, some stuff on a 3-up save has got quite a lot better as well. Like I said, Redemptors, Contemptors, Leviathans might be a big winner as well. But things on a 2-up save got a lot stronger. Things on a 3-up save decently stronger, but things on a 2-up save really are going to eclipse. I think we're going to see a lot of things that have a 2-up save in the next few months, which is totally fine. I mean, this edition is about being durable, right? I've said that loads of times. Double Claw is good. I guess you could make a cheaper unit for the Vanguard veterans as well, with like some with claws. You could even go like a claw and a chainsword, but I guess chainsword's only -1 AP now, so that's a little bit. Angel's Artifice Relic is huge now. I mean, Angel's Artifice Relic is good, for sure. I mean, I still prefer Armor Indomitus, but I guess you could run Angel's Artifice on one model and Armor Indomitus on the other model, right? So you potentially could have that as an option. Regiso is working on a Fellblade at the moment. It should be better now. Might run my Spartan next game to see if they've gotten decent buff out of this. I mean, I might run my Falchion at some point, because I think that they have I think anything, like I said, 2-up save units have got a lot better, and like toughness 8 2-up save units are pretty cool as well, because you know toughness 8 isn't easy to wound, so you're going to need to hit them with something hard, and then typically if you're wounding toughness 8, it's not that many shots coming in, so anything that improves the armor save is pretty big, I think. Like, I think you could run the falchion now. You don't need to worry. Like before, I think you might have needed to worry about having a way to give the falchion invulnerable save. I don't think you need to worry about that now. I mean, I could be wrong, but you know, even if you hit the falchion with like -5, which again, you can't have that many shots to -5, right? It's still getting a save, and it's 28 wounds or 26 wounds, is it? It's a lot of wounds. Ironclad with Might of Heroes. Toughness 9 Dreadnought. Yeah, okay. Ironclad with Might of Heroes. Yeah, let's do it. I want to get an Ironclad. It's one of the few Dreadnoughts I don't have. JW is going to have to leave the stream. I'm going to have to leave the stream in a few minutes, JW. It's just past midnight. I just don't have work in the morning, so I'm just chilling for a few extra minutes tonight. But normally I wrap it about now. Or normally I would have wrapped it maybe 10 minutes ago. So thanks for hanging out, dude. I appreciate it. I look forward to hearing all you guys' lists and comments and stuff now that once again... Well, I guess the main thing will be to see where we actually rise. If we rise, if our win rate rises in competitive play. Tech Marine sat next to the Falchion. Yeah, I mean, the Tech Marine with the Falchion is good, right? I used to run a Librarian Dreadnought to keep the Falchion alive with the invulnerable save, but like, I guess you probably just don't need to bother with that part anymore. So, in some ways, that's pretty nice, I think. My Crusader got improved. We're going to see that Blood Angels list anytime soon. What, a Blood Angels list with a Crusader? I wish we had a way to charge out of the Crusader. Good night, DTM. Thanks for hanging out. I'm sure I'll see you this weekend at some point. Remember, guys, Saturday night, we've got the painting stream coming for to pick the winners of the painting competition. So that should be a fun stream to see to see all the community's entries, basically. I better look at the list I submitted, John. I'll tweak it. Yeah, please do. I mean, if anyone's submitted army lists for the live show and they want to tweak it before I review them on stream, please do that, because it'll just mean that the lists can be a little bit more relevant to. Plus, it'll be really interesting to see with what people are coming up with now that, well, I mean, everything's changed, right? For us, anyway. Everything has changed. Kev says they need to give the Land Raider their assault ramp back. It's on the bloody model. Yeah. What have they got against Land Raiders? I actually think that like big tanks like that really suffer about the fact that they can't fall back. Like, yeah, I mean, the game against Death Guard last week where it was like the Land Raider was bogged down by a group of Poxwalkers is just stupid, because like in reality, I'm pretty sure the Land Raider would just run over the Poxwalkers. Like, it wouldn't be stuck in combat with like 4 Poxwalkers. It would just literally drive over the top of them. Or someone would get out of the Land Raider, smash the Poxwalkers in the face, and then it would drive over them. Because you're not telling me that the guys inside the Land Raider, surely they're Space Marines, right? They can get out and they would kill the 4 Poxwalkers. It's just stupid. Maybe a hot take, but I don't think unit-specific strata should exist. They should just get a data sheet ability, even if it were once per game. I mean, I guess. How are you running Saturday stream, John? Will you be displaying people's entries? Yeah, we'll be looking at... I've made a slideshow with every single entry. So everybody that entered and met all the conditions, because some people didn't meet all the conditions. Everyone... And I've made the slideshow anonymous so the judges don't know who they're picking. Steel Rain says, not watched the video yet, but any edge case vehicles playable now, Laser, Vindicator, Destroyer. Also thinking Power Sword, Thunderhammer mix and Infernal Pistols on Vanguard Veterans. I mean, I think the Power Swords is probably going to be interesting. Power Swords on Death Company might be interesting as well, because Chain Swords are essentially weaker now into... What is it like? Chain Swords are going to be weaker into other Marines, Death Guard, Thousand Suns, and Grey Knights. So Chain Swords will be quite a bit weaker into them. So I think Power Swords are going to be more... I think Power Swords are going to be actually valuable on Death Company, maybe. And, like you said, Vanguard Veterans they could work on. I guess anything that has... Like, even a Gladiator Reaper. Someone already was talking about Battle Predators earlier tonight, Steel Rain. I guess all these things are just... Well, if you save on 3s and you change it to ignore -1, and like I said, I would say 90% of the time you're taking damage in this edition from 40k, you're taking it from -1 or above. It's very rare, like apart from like Volcons. I guess it hasn't nerfed Volcons. Like, unless you're getting hit by, like, Volcons, you're typically on more than AP 0, right? So, I guess, like, all your tanks that saved on 3s before now save on 2s. So, it's literally a 16% increase in survivability. Well, essentially, they don't save on 2s, do they? But they ignore 1 point of AP. So against anything that's more than 1 AP, it's 16% more survivable. And 0 AP stuff isn't killing tanks anyway, right? So like, could you even run a Gladiator Reaper? Could you run a Vindicator Laser Destroyer? Yeah, I think you probably could. I think it's going to take some degree of experimentation to find out what's going to actually work and what's going to be still a bit weaker. But I think it's exciting nonetheless that like there is going to be more options now. Thank you so much for the $5 Steel Rain. You are a big supporter of mine. I appreciate it. From what I can recall, the only rule was that the Blood Angels in traditional garb did something. I'm lost from your point. The end. What was it? Is there a point to storm shields on captains anymore? Pretty sure it's 5 points to delivery now. I think it's 10 points to Themos. And on a captain, I guess you're right, it literally does nothing now. So, Infernal Pistols is the way forward. Infernal Pistols is the way forward. There's no point to have a Storm Shield on the captain, save the 10 points. Or take an Infernal Pistol and save 5 points. Jim, you've got a great mind. We're on the same planet here. The Relic one does help with mortals. Yeah, I suppose you could take the Relic Storm Shield and you could get a bit of protection against mortals. It's pretty... It's fine, I guess. You know, one captain that interests me now, I suppose, and I've run him a few times, is how about the Death Company captain on a bike, right? With a chainsword. So a captain on a bike is 100 points. A chainsword is obviously 0 points. Put him in the Death Company for 20 points. So you get a Death Company captain with a chainsword that you upgrade to the Teeth of Terra for 120 points. What does that give him? Well, Teeth of Terra means 3 additional attacks. He's a captain, so he starts with 4. So obviously if he charges and he's got Savage Echoes, that puts him up to 6. Teeth of Terra is putting up to 9. Death Company captain is putting him up to 10 for the Death Company, the Black Rage keyword. And then obviously beyond that you could play Death Vision. So, but I mean, basically 120 points for a captain with, I guess, a 3-up save, a 4-up invulnerable save, obviously ignoring 1 point of AP, and 10 attacks, strength 5, I think, on the Teeth of Terror, plus 1 to wound, 2 damage. And the Death Visions as well, just to, I mean, the Death Visions are kind of, Death Visions have never been that strong, but it's something. It's kind of cool. Oh, the Death Company captain on a bike is nasty, says Ed Graham. Yeah, I mean, I've got one. I was just kind of thinking about running Dante a little bit in a list because I think people want to see Dante, but we'll see. I mean, I like the bike captain. I liked him at 130 points because you used to have to give him the Storm Shield. Now you don't need to give him the Storm Shield. He can only reroll for Death Company. That's true. Yeah, he only buffs Death Company. But I mean, I don't know if he's there to buff people as much as to just try and blend some infantry with his 10 attacks, right? Or his 10 2-damage attacks. Plus, he can offer a little bit of turn 1 threat as well, because obviously he can do a Forlorn Fury if you want him to. All right, I'm gonna call it a night right after I tidy up this guy's foot. Thanks so much for watching tonight, guys, and thanks for watching the Dataslate video. You can leave me a comment on either video, I guess, tonight if there's a rule or if there's a question that I missed, because sometimes I do miss questions. That's why I was saying, for the channel members, you can do free super chats, and all you need to do is click on the super chat button if you're a channel member, and you can, I think it's once a month, you can do a free super chat. I think it just lets you send sort of the super chat message alert comes up. I mean, it does say new member. I'll need to maybe look into why it says that, but it does mean that you can alert me, and I can try and make sure that I get you the answer that you need if I miss your question, I guess, right? Do you know what? It's so long since I've painted Death Company, so I'm going to be trying to copy this sort of guy. But yeah, this edge highlighting takes me forever. And I want to try and remember what this looks like so that I match the scheme, I guess. Resil says, cheers, it was a great busy day, thank you. Chapter Master can pick himself for rerolls, would that not be better? I mean, but I think they're different types of characters, right? The Chapter Master is a buffer, the Death Company character is a smasher. So you're picking them for very different reasons. And you can have both. You can have a Chapter Master and a Death Company captain in the same army list. That is totally valid. And you know, when I run that's very much what I was doing. I have both in the list. I pretty much never draw up my Chapter Master. I'm in love with him. He's my favorite. I knew it wasn't crazy to load up on Death Company with jump packs, Infernal Pistols, and Power Fists, says Ryan Rogers. No, it was a good call, actually, wasn't it? Maybe I should paint a couple with Infernal Pistols and Power Fists, because that's going to be a good option as well. Man, I hate painting Death Company. Or I just hate painting the black, I guess, and then all the edge highlighting. I don't know if I hate it, I guess. I'm probably just slow at it is more of an accurate description. So, oh well, that'll be my life for the next 6 months. Someone's going to come on here at some point and be like, oh my god, is John still painting Death Company? Be like, yes, I'm still painting Death Company, get over it. But alright guys, I hope you all have a good night. Thank you for watching both videos tonight, I do appreciate it. Leave me a comment if there's anything you want to talk about, or join the Discord, the links are in the video description. Or become a channel member. You can do that through Patreon or the big join button under the video, that is appreciated as well. You dry brush the black. I edge highlight them very, very slowly. Very, very slowly. Why is black the least fun colour to paint? Don't know, maybe just because it's quite monotone, maybe? Maybe it's a bit boring? I don't know, Ed. I think it's because you have to edge highlight them meticulously to get them very good. That's probably the reason. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you this weekend. I'm sure I'll be live at some point. And I think on Monday we're actually playing Tau. So yeah, I think we're going to play up against Andrew's Tau list. And I think it'll be a much less depressing game for me. So I will see you guys, I'm sure, at some point. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And by the blood are we made strong. Peace.